Hey there, Kenneth French of Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. We're very, very happy you stopped by. Either you're going to watch this or listen to this because you want to take your business to the next level. You're probably an entrepreneur who's either just starting out or you've been around for quite a while and you want to take your business to the next level. You're probably a real estate investor, maybe even a real estate agent, maybe a professional or of some sort, professional advisor of some sort. And well, you are stopping by because you need some valuable advice from one of the top industry leaders there is. Anyway, thank you very much. Once again, Kenneth French, Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. Really glad you stopped by.
Hanging out with Mark, the marketing man. How does that sound? Is that a good introduction right off the bat?
That's not too bad. Not too bad.
All right, let's jump to, we're going to be hanging out for half an hour. We're going to be not instructing, but chatting, hopefully adding value to the audience. The audience, small business owners, really a lot of real estate investors. A lot of them are, real estate agents, as a matter of fact. How about this? Give us one tip right off the bat that can add value to that type of market right off the bat.
All right, right off the bat. So the first thing, the biggest thing I find is they're not properly tracking leads.
I like that.
People lose a lot of money because they make gut decisions instead of smart decisions.
You mean track them when they come from a website or when they come from a referral or when they come from whatever, advertising in some nature?
So I make sure that one of the first things that we ever do is make sure that every single lead, visitor to the site, phone call, form submission is able to be tracked to a source.
I like that. I like that. Right.
If you can track all that, you can track where every dollar is coming from. And if you can track where every dollar is coming from, then you know what's where your money is being spent wisely.
Yeah, that's right off the bat. That's good advice. So real quick, let's backtrack. Tell us a little bit about marketing Mark. That's good. I like that.
So you said that 10 times fast.
Yeah, exactly.
So I started off obviously, if you look, if this is video, I started my professional life as a musician. I found myself graduating from college without a clue as to what I wanted to do with my life. But I did want to, I was a bass player and I wanted to play on Broadway. That was kind of a goal, not because I loved Broadway or I hadn't even seen a Broadway show at the time. It just was like a steady gig and would get like my mom out of my hair, like, cause I was like, I was a working musician. And so I ended up within about a year, I got a gig playing, subbing in the show Rent on Broadway. Which
no way. Wait. Hold on. Right out of school, you got a job at Rent?
Yeah, I think it was about a year and a half, 2 years after I graduated from college.
Wow, dude, you're the man. Okay, that's pretty cool.
So yeah, and so that then I got the gig full time. I was on tour, did the national tour, Japanese tour, a bunch of other stuff, and at some point, a couple years later, I decided I was tired of being on the road all the time, and I wanted to settle down. And one thing that I was really good at was getting in people's faces, getting attention, figuring out how to get people to basically buy. In my case, buy me as a bass player. And so I kind of packaged that up into a marketing company, started designing websites back in 2002, something like that, 2001, 2002. And which eventually turned into a full-blown marketing company, got gigs like Nike and American Express and Berkshire Hathaway, Tiger Woods, all these big clients, just by doing the same thing, like just really figuring out the secret to getting people's attention. And,
holy mackerel!
I exited that agency a couple years ago and started Loudmouse, which is a fractional CMO agency. We work with a lot of companies in the financial, legal, and medical space as their fractional CMO. We come in, we manage all their marketing, figure out why nothing seems to be working right, and we get it all up and running and working.
Look at you. Wow. Okay. Wow. From working with Tiger Woods and Nike to hanging out with us, man, you've gone downhill. That's pretty cool. So clearly if Nike, which I think is one of the juggernauts in marketing, if you've worked with them, clearly you have stones. I mean, you know what's going on as far as marketing. You're one of those marketing gurus probably. All right. So let me ask a few questions about marketing right off the bat. I like automatically what you're saying. By the way, we have, as a firm, we do very, very little marketing, really all word of mouth. We do email marketing. That's it. You're going to be talking to really the listeners and viewers out there who are mainly, again, real estate investors, real estate agents, and then also people who are looking to increase their business, their operational businesses. Bottom line, I think a lot of them want to do it with marketing. Sure. So why am I saying that? So, you mentioned tracking, tracking the incoming leads. So obviously, and you do website design. So what is, do you mind peeling the curtain a little bit? What is it that you provide as far as, fractional CMO with respect to that endeavor right off the bat?
So we create like leadership in marketing where there usually isn't any. It's one of those things that we have a CEO, we have a CEO, and then marketing, we just hire a bunch of agencies and just kind of hope and pray for the best. And then, you don't really know what's working and what's not working. People aren't communicating. Everybody's working in silos, and there's all these issues. So we come in and we have like kind of a 3-tier system. Our first is tracking. Like we have to figure out where everything is coming from, what's working and what's not working, because at the end of the day, like you can't come in and set a strategy when you don't know what the actual data is, and that seems to be like the biggest issue. Like whenever we show up, they're not tracking calls, or if they're tracking calls, it's not communicating with their CRM. If it's communicating with their CRM, they don't know what their Google ads are doing. Like it's just this hot mess of information. Everybody has a different report. You get and so we kind of bring it all together into one place. So there's one source of truth. And so we're not making, marketing is like an art and science, and there is a lot of guesswork and there is a lot of hunches and guts and whatnot. But the more, it's just like a casino. The more that you have data on your side, the more that you have information, the better odds you have. So if we can create all that tracking, so we have better data, we can make better decisions, make more money, spend less money.
Yeah, I like spending less
really
money.
Kind of that first step. Then the next part is people. So we have our tracking, we have our knowledge, our data, however you want to phrase it. And then the next one is people. Do we have the right people doing the right things at the right time for the right reason? And so that means, we sit down with all the agencies that our clients work with, figure out what they're doing, why they're doing it, what their budget is, what they need. Because a lot of times it's not just we've had issues where agencies were stealing money from clients, and we've also, and we're talking like 10 grand a month off the ad spend, and stuff like that, like pretty bad stuff. That's kind of the exception to the rule. What happens a lot also on the other side is a lot of times it's the client's fault. Like the client just doesn't have the time to communicate with the agency, so they hire an agency and they think that they're, we're done. We hired an SEO company, let them do their thing, and then they ignore them, and then they get mad when the results aren't good. So it really is a partnership. So we bring that partnership back to the agencies. We make sure we have the right people, and then once we have the right people, we bring them into the fold, and we make sure that we build up on that partnership. And then once we're done with that, we start talking strategy. Most people try to start with strategy, like, hey, there's this new, Facebook ads tactic. Let's apply that. Like, no, like you have to get the foundation right. And then once you do that, then we can lay a strategy over it, because we know we have the right people that are implementing that strategy, and we know we have the right data to tell if that strategy is working or not. So it all kind of works hand in hand.
I understand. So you mentioned Loudmouse, not Loudmouth, but Loudmouse. I assume that's one way to get a hold of you, loudmouse.com, probably, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So then if, let's say the client has their own website, can you come in and help out with the tracking, or do they have to have your software, by the way?
No. Nothing's with our software. Our goal is to build up your marketing team and your marketing department, not ours. So we're coming in, we're building out all the tools. So if you have CallRail and Salesforce and, some other reporting tool or whatever, that's what we work with. We're not looking to change your CRM. We're not forcing any software that we've developed down your throat. Really our goal is to take what you have. Now, if we find something doesn't work, like if you have a call tracking software that just doesn't work, or a CRM that's garbage, we're going to, kind of push you in the direction of let's get this done right. This may be good for us right now, but if we want to grow over the course of 5 years, it's not going to work. Let's build something for that growth, for where we see ourselves going.
Yeah.
So we'll do that, but it'll never be our software. We don't have any skin in the game in that sense. It's just, we just want to make sure we all have what we need.
Yeah. And I think I saw on your website that you guys, by the way, I just want to stop there showing that I've done some research for the show. Thank you very much, kids.
I was going to say very impressive.
It looks like you almost, without really saying it, you almost say that the client's going to get their fee back in revenue right off the bat, and at the end of, I think, month one.
Yeah. So what normally happens are the first month of our process between getting the tracking right and figuring out what's going on with your agencies. We're usually finding about 25%, 25 to 35% of your marketing spend is being wasted.
Yeah.
There's usually a smaller percentage of like really low hanging fruit. Like, hey, if we just tweak this one thing, we're going to increase revenue 5%, 10% right now, like starting tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So there's usually a couple of those things that we find within those first 30 days. Because that's our goal, like our goal, because you're not hiring us to be your SEO company. You're not hiring us to be your AdWords company. You're hiring us to manage all of it. And so it's just an added expense if we're not turning it around fast. So that's our number one thing has to be revenue. Like how do because most agencies, when you get on your call with your SEO team, they're celebrating like, hey, we got this keyword in the top 10. It's like, but if it doesn't drive any revenue, who cares? Like that's where we kind of come in and be like, I don't want to focus on anything that doesn't drive revenue. That's that's what we have to do right out of the gate.
No, I understand. So, I saw on your resume, on your not your resume, on your website that you.
My resume. That's from 30
Yeah.
years ago. But yeah,
Actually,
I can't remember the last time I had a resume.
well, LinkedIn. You have a LinkedIn profile.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, but I hear what you're saying. Like the last time I wore a suit, I haven't worn a suit in years. Anyway, but geez, where was I going? Oh, it looks as though. Well, no, help me to understand a fractional CMO. What really is a fractional CMO? I'm having a hard time with that definition. I'm assuming some of the people out there are as well.
So it's a C-suite executive, like someone who's a CMO that comes into your company, manages all your marketing. The difference is rather than paying $300,000 a year to somebody that works full time, you're paying somebody to come in, and sit in that role as a part of the team, as a part of the C-suite, but not an actual member of the company. And I hesitate saying part-time because it's not necessarily part-time. I have clients where where it's, I'll fly out there for a week or, and we'll be like all in, and doing a major change in the company. I'm heading out to Canada in a couple of weeks to do just that. So I hesitate saying part-time, but it's kind of like a part-time role. You're saving a lot of money on the expense of, because you're not paying $300,000, you're not paying insurance, you're not paying all the stuff that comes with bringing a C-suite executive on, but you're getting the benefits of having somebody sitting in that role. What's the benefits of a fractional versus full-time? In like in our case, full-time you're hiring one person. Fractional, like with us, you're hiring a team, and so you're getting me as your fractional CMO. But I have a creative team behind me. I have an executive assistant that I work with, like project managers, designers, developers. So even though we're not doing the work, I have somebody who's an expert AdWords person who's going to come in, and we're going to audit all of your AdWords. And so you're going to have somebody that doesn't have skin in the game that's going to be looking at what your agencies are doing at all times. So it really is more beneficial than having somebody full time to a point. Now, if you're doing 50 to 100 million, you're going to want somebody, at the water cooler in the, in the meeting and in the boardroom with you all the time. That's much different.
I get it. Now I understand. And what I would say is, it seems like, plus you're out there in the marketplace, you're talking to different clients, so that's going to add value, and that's going to help your depth of knowledge so much when you're working with each and every client, because you're actively involved in other clients as well, meaning you personally. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So give me one example where you've completely turned around a client's marketing. So give me one case study, and so the viewers and listeners out there can kind of understand not only what it is you do, but how you've been able to do that.
Sure. So we came into work with a company. They were spending about, I want to say about $190,000 a month in marketing. So that's a big nut every month. And their ROAS was around a 3. So for every dollar they spent, they made about $3. And
Okay.
but the problem was they brought me on because they were complaining that they're always broke. Like, we should be seeing something. Like, we shouldn't be having a hard time paying the bills if we're spending $1 making $3. And so I started digging in this is like one of those within the first 30 days kind of deals. I uncovered that something was going on with the AdWords company. Like the reports didn't add up. They were sending Excel spreadsheets. They weren't sending real reports, and the numbers just didn't make any sense when compared to what was coming in. Found out that they were spending about 80 to 90 grand a month on ads. They were taking $10,000, putting it in their pocket in addition to their management fees. They were stealing $10,000 a month.
Oh, that's the one you were talking about.
For about a year, and then so we caught that, and then they were making up the reports to make it look like they had a ROAS of about a 3. The ROAS was really like a 1.5. And so we got rid of them, brought in a new team, reduced the marketing spend, killed off the SEO team that wasn't really doing anything. They were just outsourcing. Like these are the things that kind of happen when you take your eye off the ball. When you have a bunch of agencies, and agencies are very squeaky wheel business. Whoever's making the most noise is going to get the most attention. And so they just got forgotten about. The SEO company wasn't doing anything. The social media team hadn't logged into the account, the ads account for 3 or 4 months. So we fired everybody, brought in all new agencies, and within about, I want to say about 6 months, we brought it from that 1.5 ROAS, 1.25 ROAS, whatever it was, to about a 6, and we brought their spend down from 180 to about 120. So now they're making 3 times as much, spending about 2/3 of what they were spending before. And so so that and a lot of that savings kind of happened real quick. Like in that first 30 days, we were getting rid of all the fat, and we were more than paid for within that first 30 days. And then the actual numbers, that 6 ROAS was real. It wasn't made up. It wasn't fake.
Yeah, obviously that's a case example where the client ends up loving you. Nice work. I get it. So, okay. So, I don't know if you know anything about us per se. You probably didn't do the research that I did on you guys.
Well, maybe not as much research as you did, but I did actually listen to one of the first episode on your episode page.
Oh, nice. Thank you very much for doing that. So we do a lot of artificial intelligence. As you probably know, we do tax prep, tax consulting, finance. We do, finance for real estate, commercial real estate. We also, as I mentioned, do artificial intelligence, AI, to lower tax liability, and also for us underpinning everything we do, running the business. And we also do consulting with AI. Why am I talking about AI? Now, AI has obviously taken a strong hold now. I'm just wondering if you use artificial intelligence, number one, or number two, how is that going to affect or help some of your clients going forward?
That's a great question. So I use AI from a content writing perspective. I will use AI to map out something that I want to write. So if I'm writing, let's say, if we need to create a piece of content, I'll have it do all the research for me. I'll have it do the outline for me. I'll even have it write some of the more data driven parts of it. I find that the content itself is very stale. It doesn't sound very human. So we'll do either a lot of editing or we'll write a lot of the content outside of that. But we have a big chunk of it is done just because we have a lot of the structure, and which is really crazy helpful, especially with longer pieces of content, like if it's an ebook or something like that. So we'll use it for that. I'll use it for a lot of research. We work with a lot of investment, real estate investment companies, and so when we're targeting certain markets, and I need to pull zip codes or counties, or if I have a list of zip codes, based on like what I'll do is I can export data from like the CRM, be able to import that in, give me a list of like the best, the counties that are the most profitable counties, the most profitable towns, the most profitable zip codes, for my client over the, in the month of June last year. So I know what we do this year. I guess June is last, but right. and so we'll do that. And I'll use that research, and like that would take hours to do, to kind of sift through a lot of that data. But just to dump it in there and have it spit out some answers is really helpful.
I'm getting it. So it sounds like, because you're talking about zip codes, one of the big things you do is help clients with ad buys in specific markets. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so one of the ways that we can trim the fat, like, I find like a lot of AdWords or if they're doing broadcast media or something, they'll just spray and pray. So it's like, oh, you
Mm,
handle New Jersey, so let's just focus all on New Jersey, and we just throw a bunch of ads into the state, and or half of the state or whatever it is, and so what we'll do is one of the first things that we'll do is we'll kind of go through a lot of that data, figure out like, well, where are the places that we're getting the actual leads from? Where are the places that we're actually getting, getting revenue from? And then look at the areas that we're not. And, okay, how much money are we spending in this area? We haven't gotten a lead in there in 6 months. Why are we spending, $3,000 a month? Let's take that and
mhm,
put it towards the other area where we're getting 30 leads a month, and, and double up our efforts there, then pull from, and so we start to kind of,
mm,
um, you know, uh, trim some of that fat. Like, rather than taking a chainsaw to our AdWords, we're taking like a scalpel and just kind of really carving out the counties and the areas that we want to focus on.
mm. I understand. Okay. All right. That totally makes sense. So let's say I'm a real estate agent and I have a team. Let's say I have, I'll think of a client. Let's say I have, 500 people under me.
Okay.
I'm assuming you could come in and work with my team, or you can work with me as an individual agent. Um, so, as an example, let's just say I want to take it to the next level. Let's say I'm making, I don't even know. Let's just say me personally, I'm making $1 million a year, and I want to take it to the next level. And I'm pretty unorganized as far as marketing goes. And at the same time, I uh, I know that marketing is important. This is going to be a hard question. What are some of the things I should think about with respect to taking it to the next level?
Well, first I would get specific about what take it to the next level means. So, like, if you're doing 1 million now, what's that next level? Is it 2 million? Is it 3 million? Is it 10 million? Is it a million five? Like, what exactly does that look like? Because that's going to kind of determine, what our budget's going to be, and what kind of what we're looking at.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just say, by the way, budget. I want to come back to that. Let's say I want to take it to well, I just talked to one, actually, the guy I'm thinking of, $5 million. Let's say I want to take it to $5 million. Actually, he's making more. Oh, no. Let me correct myself. Let's say you're making about 2 million and I want to take it to 5 million. I'm going to talk about this specific guy.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure. So yeah, so now we have somewhat of a goal. We'll figure out what our time frame is, or I'm going to want to look at the numbers and feel see what's currently going on, because I mean, you could get from 2 to 5 million, unlikely, but you could get from 2 to 5 million by cleaning up what you currently have, especially if you're a little bit of a mess on the marketing side. So there might be some
Yeah.
opportunity that's right in front of your nose that might take you from 2 to 2.5 or 3. And then we're going to revisit the budget and say, okay, now that we have all of our numbers straight, we know that for every dollar we spend over here, we're making 5 or whatever. Like, here are the opportunities. If we can increase the
Mm-hmm.
budget, 20% over here, 30% over here. Here's some areas where we're missing out. It might mean that we might also take a look at your sales team, like we do some secret shopper kind of stuff,
Oh, I got
to
you.
see, like, because at the end of the day, if I'm driving leads and you're not closing them, then it looks like it's my fault. So I want to make sure that if your sales team isn't closing, we want to take a look at that as well, and figure out why. Yeah, and it's just, I mean,
Mm.
it really is a matter of just kind of one, like, I want to say poking around, but it's not. I mean, when you have the data straight, it's more of an educated poking around, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Yeah. And this one guy, let's stay on him for a little bit. He doesn't spend very well. I don't know how much very much is. Going back to my budget question, how much of a budget should he spend in percentage terms of his gross? I'm speaking industry norm. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I shy away from certain percentages, saying like, oh, you should spend 20% of your revenue
Mm-hmm.
on marketing. Like, I shy away from that only because a lot of times people get overwhelmed by that, and like I don't want to spend 20%, and other people are just like, there's so much opportunity and they're only spending 20%.
Yeah.
So that could be the thing that's holding them back. So I try not to come up with an exact number, and really kind of look at what you're currently spending now, or what you're currently making, what the revenue is, what your what's available. I mean, you can be maybe making 2 million, but if your expenses are 2.5 million, you're not going to have any money for marketing. So
Mm-hmm.
like that doesn't work. So what can you afford to spend right now? Let's, if you're not spending a lot, like if you're only spending $5,000 a month, it doesn't make sense to work with me. But if you're only spending $5,000 a month, but you say, I have the ability to spend up to 30 or 40 or 50, like, all right, now we're talking. Now we could do something with that. So, so it's a tough question to answer with like a
Yeah.
flat answer. It's going to apply to everybody. And I certainly don't want any hate mail from people that spend 20% of their revenue, only to find out that they lit it on fire and flushed it down the toilet.
Yeah, I get that. I know it's a tough question. I try to ask kind of tough questions. I totally get it though. And what's an engagement look like with you, or like with any, fractional virtual CMO?
I can't speak for anybody else. What we do is we recommend at least a 6 month engagement. But at the end of the day, I don't want to work with anybody that doesn't want to work with me. So so if after at any point, and it's just not a good fit, you let us know and we're done.
Mm.
It doesn't usually, that's not usually the case, because what ends up happening is we clean everything up, we fix everything up, revenue's going up, exactly where it's going. There's like tons of nothing but transparency. And then when left to your own devices, you're going to bring it right back to where it was before. So, so we usually stay on for much longer. But yeah, I mean, you'll see some impact in the first 30 days. You'll see much more impact in the first 90 days, 6 months, you won't recognize your company.
Really? I like that. That's a pretty good goal. I like that. Changing the
Yeah.
goal, changing the company in 6 months. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But it seems like a couple guys have told me that it takes forever for SEO to kind of take hold. But it sounds like what you do is you look under the covers, you look under the hood, and you're able to kind of clean things up quicker as a result of that. And then I guess all the SEO and all that stuff kind of kicks in as well.
Well, we don't have just one tool. Like if all you have is a hammer, everything has to be a nail.
Yeah.
So we have a tool belt that includes, email and media buying and SEO and Google Ads, and I mean, we're going to take a look at the whole picture, as opposed to I'm an SEO company, so hire me, and it's going to take me 6 months to get it right. You don't have to worry. Like, we're not doing that. Now, SEO is really important, and it's a big part of what we do, or what we make sure that all of our clients are ranking, and are working with an SEO company. But yeah, I mean, if you had to rely on that, you're going to be waiting around for quite some time before you really kind of see some fruits from that labor. And what's going to end up happening in 3 months, you're going to get frustrated. You're going to fire the company. You're going to hire somebody new. They're going to start over. 3 months later, you're going to fire them, and then you're going to hire somebody new. And you're just going to be on that, chasing your tail with SEO companies. So yeah, we don't want to head down that path. So we have, we can turn things on really fast with Google Ads. We can, we look through your site to see if there's any opportunity to better optimize your site for conversions. If we find things that aren't working, or it's just like, your form is all the way at the bottom of the page and nobody can find it, or it doesn't work, or, so we're looking at that as well. So there's a lot of things that we do, that right out of the gate, we could turn it around pretty quickly.
And what I know you probably work with bigger clients, but what if someone doesn't have any marketing agency? They don't really use a marketing agency. They kind of do it themselves. Because I know a couple of guys, or I should say guys and girls, who do that in the real estate world, as far as, making their agency a little bit bigger. What are your thoughts there? What's it like working with them?
I mean, if they're doing good and they have the time and attention to be able to do it, it's good to a certain point. At some point, as you grow, you're going to have to choose whether you want to play in marketing or whether you want to actually grow the business. Because like I could tell you from the amount of attention that we put on a client, we have a team and it's a full-time job. So I don't know a world where you can, at a certain level, where you can actually do both, where you can really properly run the marketing, be on top of everything, and run your company and everything that goes involved with that. That might be great up to your first 100, 200, 300 grand, but beyond that, it just becomes too much. So,
I know
so I would tell them, just keep doing what you're doing until you get to a certain point, but start looking at either bringing a marketing technician into your team, a marketing VA, somebody to start taking some of the lower level marketing stuff off your hands so you can get used to that process of somebody else working with somebody else.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I'm not even sure why I brought that up because most of our people, I would think, do work with someone like you or should be working with someone like you because our people are like they're busy doing their own thing, making widgets or selling real estate or trying to build their team. Just like us, people come to us. Oh, I can do my own taxes. Well, okay, then you're making it. I'm seeing $200,000 mistake. Just last week, we saved a dude $200,000. He was trying to do his own taxes. The guy was a high net worth guy. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'm not even sure why.
Yeah, I always tell people, like, would you do your own root canal if you knew how?
Yeah,
Probably not.
yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, so once again, how does someone get a hold of you?
You can just visit us at loudmouse.com. It's Loudmouse, not loudmouth, but loudmouse. And you can find everything you need. Reach out to us. I'm happy to jump on a call and talk to anybody. We also have if anybody's interested, we have a giveaway that teaches you how to better work with your marketing agencies to get more out of them. And so if you go to loudmouse.com/breaking, you can download that for free and check that out. And that'll, if you're working with marketing agencies, just implement a couple of those tips, and I'm telling you, you'll improve your results right out of the gate.
Very nice. Before we sign off, what's one last tip that we haven't talked about that can add value to our marketplace? Again, solopreneur, entrepreneur, wanting to take it to the next level. They could sell widgets. They could be plumbers. But let's say they're pretty well heeled and they want to take their operational company one step higher. And we haven't talked about whatever idea that you're thinking of right now.
So I think with everybody going nuts over AI and leveraging AI to answer their phones, to make their sales calls, to respond to their emails, to their chat bots on their website, I always find that with marketing, if you do the opposite of what everybody else is doing, you're going to win. And so while everybody is going all in on AI and trying to remove people from the entire process, make sure that you're injecting some human element into what you do. Make sure that whether it's answering a call, doing a follow up, sending an email, sending somebody a handwritten card, telling people your story instead of just just being cold about who you are and just and making it all about what you do and your core values that you don't even remember. Tell them your story and add that human element to what you're doing. I think in the next 3 to 5 years, I don't think there's gonna be a single human answering the phones for any company for that matter. And it's going there, but and I think that's a good thing in many ways, but if you reach out and you're a human being, every now and then, and people get a little taste of that, they're going to be shocked and they're going to, they're going to gravitate towards that. So don't lose sight of that. Doesn't mean you can't play around in AI. Doesn't mean you can't leverage it, but don't lose sight of the human aspect of doing business.
Yeah, we think there's going to be a huge premium put on human touch, which is kind of weird because it's the opposite of where we're going right now. But I think that, you're not going to know if you're talking to a bot, and that's a freaky thing. You know what I mean? And I think that, seeing stuff like this, by the way, we are real. We're not bots. I think that's going to make a difference down the road. But I think that a lot of automation is going to take place as far as artificial intelligence. But I think if that core human touch is going to make a big difference going forward, it's going to be a premium on it. I agree with you totally.
Yeah, and I would even go so far as to say that we don't even know if we're talking to a bot. I think it's going to be, we're just going to assume we're always talking to a bot.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be shocked when somebody actually picks up the phone and answers, and that person is going to get the job over all the bots.
I totally agree with that. It's going to be, we're in an interesting world. It really, especially for marketing. I love hearing about, marketing ideas because I think it's changing. Our whole world's changing. With finance, it's changing. With, tax strategy, everything's changing. I think marketing even more so because there's so many different elements of marketing that are being kind of now potentially touched by, artificial intelligence specifically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. It's been a pleasure, Mark. You know what's going on. You obviously, you have the chops. You know exactly what's going on as far as marketing, and someone would be crazy not to reach out to you. Once again, one last time, how does someone get a hold of you?
Loudmouse.com.
Sweet. Not loudmouth. Loudmouse.
Loudmouth.
Yeah.
Although, if you ask my wife, she would tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
Loudmouse.
I totally know what you're saying. Thanks again. Hey, everyone, it's a huge pleasure that you guys are spending time with us. You could be doing a lot of other things, and here you're hanging out, watching us, listening to us, hearing who is us, if you will, vastsolutionsgroup.com. And I'm Kenner with vastsolutionsgroup.com. And this is Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. Really appreciate you guys taking the time.